The Non-Existent Basement. I, Haruto Tanaka, 28 years old, a software engineer specializing in IT development at a leading tech company in Tokyo's Shibuya district. I've always prided myself on my rationality. My life revolves around complex lines of code, strong black coffee, and long nights in front of a laptop screen. I don't believe in ghosts, superstitions, or anything that can't be proven with data. That's why, when I found this old house in the outskirts of Setagaya with an unbelievably cheap rent, I didn't hesitate. Saving money for new gear, I told myself, as I packed up my things from my tiny apartment in the city center. Moving here was a chance to escape the urban noise and focus more on remote work, a trend that had become the norm post-pandemic. It was an afternoon in April of that year, with a light drizzle falling and the last cherry blossoms of the season scattering across the quiet street leading to the house. Setagaya is a peaceful district, but the alley where the house stood felt strangely desolate, as if time had forgotten it. House number 17 appeared under the weak sunlight, a structure built in the post-war era after World War II, with a hybrid architecture of rotting wood and cold grey concrete. The tiled roof curved in traditional Japanese style, interspersed with rough concrete walls, as if pieced together from the remnants of a shattered history. The heavy wooden front door creaked when I pushed it open, and immediately a chill rushed out, carrying the scent of damp mold mixed with moist earth. I stepped into the living room, the wooden floor creaking under my feet like it was protesting an intruder's presence. The space was dim. Even after I turned on all the lights, the yellowish glow from the old bulbs only highlighted the cracked walls, like scars that never healed. I quickly checked the architectural blueprint sent by the real estate company via email. Simple PDF file showing only 2 floors above ground with a solid concrete foundation, no mention of a basement or any underground space. Perfect, I thought, as I arranged my belongings. A simple futon, a work desk with my laptop, an extra monitor, and a few boxes of technical books on programming and cybersecurity. I connected my personal Wi-Fi, tested the speed. It was stable enough for work. But as night fell, the house's atmosphere shifted entirely. The darkness seemed thicker, seeping through every crevice, and from beneath the concrete floor came a steady dripping sound, like the heartbeat of someone dying in solitude. At first, I assumed it was a leaky pipe, so I checked the kitchen faucet and bathroom. Nothing unusual. The sound seemed to come from deeper, from the earth itself, carrying a vague unease that I tried to brush off. The next morning, while brewing coffee, there was a knock at the door. It was Mrs. Sato, the 60-year-old neighbor living in the small wooden house next door. She had a wrinkled face, silver hair tied in a bun, and eyes deep like dried wells filled with memories. She brought a plate of homemade mochi, smiling politely, but with a hint of worry in her gaze. "You're Tanaka, right? Welcome to the neighborhood. I'm Sato. I've lived here for over 4 decades. Are you alone?" I invited her in, brewed some green tea, and we sat in the living room. Mrs. Sato talked about the area, the friendly neighbors, the local market, and the summer festivals. But then her voice lowered, whispering as if afraid someone might overhear. "This house, you should be careful. It has a bad history. During the Showa era, after the war, the Japanese military used it as a secret interrogation room. They held war prisoners, torturing them in hidden basements not marked on any maps. After peace came, they filled them in, but sometimes cries still echo from below. Someone was forgotten down there, wasting away in the dark." I smiled politely, dismissing her words as folklore from the elderly. "Thank you, but I'm in IT. I believe in science more. Maybe it's just old plumbing. I'll fix it if needed." Mrs. Sato shook her head slowly, staring at the floor as if listening. "Science doesn't explain everything, young man. Places that don't exist on paper often hold horrors. Leave before it pulls you in." She left, leaving me with a slight curiosity mixed with unease, but work quickly swept me away. I sat at my desk, debugging code for a mobile app project, forgetting the warning. That first real night, I lay on my futon, trying to sleep amid the wind howling through the window cracks. My phone, placed by the pillow, buzzed lightly at exactly 3 a.m. The hour folklore calls Mano-Jakan, the boundary between the living world and the underworld. I reached for it, thinking it was a notification from the company's Slack, but no, it was the list of scanned Wi-Fi networks. Next to my Haruto home and a few weak neighbor signals, like Sato family or neighbor, there was a bizarre one. "Don't go to the basement." The name was in English capitals, with only one signal bar, and it vanished after a few seconds as if it never existed. I raised an eyebrow, screenshot it, and chuckled to myself. Someone's hacking networks for fun. Kid stuff. As a cybersecurity engineer, I'm familiar with such tricks, probably someone using spoofing tools to alter the SSID. I quickly checked my router. No signs of intrusion. I went back to sleep, but the dripping under the floor seemed louder, steady like an unending whisper, making my sleep fitful. The next morning, I reviewed the blueprint on my laptop, zooming into every detail. No basement, the floor was solid concrete, per the post-war schematic. I figured the odd Wi-Fi was from a nearby house. Signal bleed due to terrain. Work kept me busy. Online meetings with the team, fixing bugs in the code, and exchanging emails with the boss. By evening, I decided to relax with some online gaming, but the memory of the strange signal lingered. I told Kato, my colleague and close friend, via line chat. Kato is a cheerful 27-year-old guy, obsessed with games and tech, who often invites me for cop sessions. Hey Haruto, your house haunted or what? Wi-Fi named "Don't go to the basement." Sounds like a Reddit creepypasta. Let me come over and check. I'll bring beer. I laughed and agreed. Company would be nice. The second night, I woke at 3 a.m. to the phone buzzing. Again, "Don't go to the basement," appearing then fading. This time, curiosity pushed me harder. I tried connecting surprisingly. No password needed. It linked instantly. The phone screen flickered oddly, like static interference. Then the camera app auto-launched without command. A blurry image appeared. A dark room, concrete walls stained with deep scratches, a dirt floor wet with puddles reflecting shadows. No sound at first, but then heavy breathing came from the speaker, like someone gasping and stifling air full of despair. The breathing was irregular, mixed with faint moans, like prolonged agony across decades. I jolted, my hand shaking as I disconnected, heart pounding. I checked the phone's system log. There was a strange text line. "I'm waiting for you here. Don't leave me alone in this darkness. I've been lonely for so long." The text was in Japanese, but the font was distorted, like typed on an ancient Showa-era computer, riddled with errors and odd characters. I couldn't sleep anymore, sitting up and turning on the lights, staring at the screen. Advanced hack. Someone using deepfakes to scare. I tried scanning the signal source with a specialized APIT pointed downward, as if the router was right under the floor. That morning, Kato arrived earlier than planned, with his gaming laptop and a few cans of Asahi beer. "Haruto, this sounds like a Japanese horror flick. Let me inspect." We sat in the living room, the wooden floor cold beneath us, waiting until 3 a.m. The house's atmosphere had grown heavier, the dripping under the floor like an incessant whisper, mixed with wind whistling through wall cracks. Kato joked to ease the tension, "If there's a ghost, I'll hack its soul." At exactly 3, the Wi-Fi appeared. Kato connected via his laptop, using Wireshark to analyze. "Whoa, it's open. Signal weak, but steady." Scanning the source now. The laptop screen showed the same. The dark room, heavy breathing. But this time, details were sharper. Faint silhouette in the corner, curled up like a skeletal figure, skin over bones, head bowed. The breathing turned to a hoarse whisper, echoing through the speakers. "Haruto. ... I know your name. I hear you every night, your footsteps above me." Kato paled, his hand trembling as he disconnected. "What the hell? It knows your name. Where from?" "Log says, you're above me. Each footstep is an invitation. Come down. We won't be lonely anymore." I've waited since the war. We sat in silence, the room suddenly freezing, like wind blowing up from the floor. Kato urged me to call the police or move out immediately. "This isn't normal hacking, Haruto. It's like ... something alive, using tech to lure." But I shook my head, rationality clinging on. "Hold on, maybe someone installed a router underground nearby, using AI for illusions. I'll trace it." Kato left worried, texting constantly. "Be careful. Don't go down alone if you find something." That night, the dripping under the floor grew louder, mixed with faint scratching, like nails digging at concrete from below. I started paying closer attention to the floor. In the kitchen corner, between the rotting wooden planks and the concrete wall, was a small gap, about a few centimeters wide, that I hadn't noticed before. I knelt, shining my phone's flashlight in. A blast of icy wind hit my face, carrying a foul, tangy smell, like dried blood mixed with mold and decay. Below the gap, it was pitch black, but it seemed like there was more space, not just solid ground. Mrs. Sato visited the next morning, bringing green tea and senbei crackers. She seemed to sense the change in me, her face more stern. "You've seen the Wi-Fi, haven't you? That's no ordinary network. It's a call from the basement." I told her details about the image, breathing, and log messages, my voice slightly shaking despite trying to stay calm. Mrs. Sato's face froze like stone, her eyes distant. I warned you. During the war, the military built secret basements under houses like this for torturing prisoners, not on blueprints, as they were state secrets, known only to high-ranking officers. One manor, POW, captured from the Pacific Front, was forgotten when the troops withdrew hastily. He wasted away in solitude, no food, no water, just darkness and pain. But his spirit didn't die, it turned into something worse. An entity parasitic on non-existent spaces, feeding on human curiosity. It spreads through modern things like Wi-Fi, because nowadays, people connect to digital signals more than to each other. Several previous owners vanished without a trace. Only their phones were found, logs full of strange pleas for others to come down. Mrs. Sato's words unsettled me deeply, but curiosity had taken root like a virus in my mind. I'm an engineer. I have to decode it, find logical proof. I spent the day researching online about Setagaya's wartime history, but only found general documents on Kempeitai secret interrogation rooms, the Japanese military police. No specific mention of this house. The third night, the Wi-Fi changed name. I hear you. I didn't connect, but the phone buzzed repeatedly, logs filling. You're walking above me. Your footsteps are like promises. Open the way. I'll show you the truth of those tortured days, the darkness swallowing souls. Don't leave me. I sat staring at the kitchen floor gap all night, heart racing. The dripping now sounded like faint laughter, mocking my skepticism. The next morning, I took action. I printed the blueprint on A3 paper, measured the floor with a tape measure and phone app. There was a clear discrepancy. The space under the kitchen floor was at least a square meter larger than the diagram, like a hidden void. I used a small hammer and repaired tools to lightly tap the rotting wood. It crumbled easily, revealing an old wooden staircase, rotten and covered in dust and cobwebs, leading into endless darkness. My heart clenched like it was being squeezed. This was the non-existent basement from the blueprint. Strong, cold wind blew up, carrying an overwhelming stench of death. I called Kato immediately, voice trembling. Kato, get over here. I found the entrance. Kato arrived within half an hour, his face pale at the sight of the gap. Haruto, you're crazy. Don't go down alone. But curiosity overrode fear. We grabbed flashlights and phones, descending step by step. The stairs creaked like breaking bones underfoot, each one echoing in the narrow space like a grave. The air was bone-chillingly cold, moldy to the point I felt my skin rotting. At the bottom was a small concrete room, about 3 by 3 meters. Walls marred with deep scratches, like desperate hands trying to claw through solid concrete. The dirt floor was damp, puddles reflecting the faint flashlight beams, and in the middle, dark stains like old dried blood, remnants of past suffering. In the corner, a rotting wooden table. Atop it, a bizarre device, like an 80 router, with weakly blinking LEDs, connected to buried electrical wires underground. No body, but the air was oppressive, like hundreds of invisible eyes watching, whispering in our ears. Suddenly, my phone vibrated hard. Wi-Fi auto-connected. You've come. The screen showed the room from another angle, and there, the skeletal man's silhouette was clearer, eyes milky white, mouth agape, whispering, Haruto, stay with me. I'm so lonely. The war took everything. Only you remain. Let me tell you about the beatings, the darkness becoming my only friend. The heavy breathing blared from the speaker, blending with real whispers in the room, as if the entity was right beside us. Kato screamed, run. We turned and bolted up, feet stumbling on the stairs, but it felt longer than the descent, like space warping to trap us. I made it up, barricading the gap with tables, chairs, and boards, gasping for air, cold sweat pouring. From then on, things worsened, like an inescapable nightmare. Every night at 3 a.m. the Wi-Fi appeared, names evolving, more personal. From I hear you, to you belong to me, then stay with me forever. System logs filled with eerie messages, like texts from below. I feel your breath through the floor. You're curious, aren't you? That's how I survive. Come down again. I'll show you my memories, the imprisonment, being forgotten, how darkness made me immortal. We'll share the loneliness. Each read drained me, body growing colder, like life being siphoned. I started hallucinating. During workdays, whispers of my name from under the floor. At night, dreams of the man curled in the basement, flesh rotting, reaching to pull me down. Kato came once more. We tried hacking the basement router. He brought specialized gear, Ethernet cables, cracking software, signal meters. Haruto, this time I'll destroy it. We descended together, the basement colder, the stench stronger. The router was there, blinking red like demon eyes. Kato plugged in his laptop, typing fast, hacking the firmware. Wait, this isn't normal. The code inside is like biological, self-altering. The faint silhouette glided across the wall. Touching Kato, he yelled. It touched me, freezing like death. We fled, but Kato was affected. He started dreaming of the basement, and days later texted, I'm not coming back. It's pulling you in. Move out. Haruto, don't let curiosity kill you like the others. I didn't listen. Curiosity had turned to obsession, like a parasite gnawing at my sanity day by day. I delved deeper into local legends. Through old books and online forums, I learned the entity wasn't a mere spirit. It was a product of wartime agony. Pow W, tortured until his soul fused with the darkness, becoming parasitic on non-existent spaces. It survives by luring the curious, using modern tech like Wi-Fi to spread, as people today are more hooked to screens than reality. Mrs. Sato shared more in our last meeting. The man's name was Hiroshi. He didn't starve. He died of loneliness, his soul warping, absorbing others' souls to persist. Anyone who goes down gets possessed, becoming part of it, calling the next victim through digital signals. The final night, I couldn't take it. The scratching under the floor was an unending invitation, phone logs overflowing. You're close now. Come down. We'll merge. I smashed the floor open completely, descending with a hammer intent on destruction. The router was there, pulsing strongly. Touching it paralyzed me, like invisible electricity locking me. The phone screen lit. Now you're mine. I saw myself in the blurry image curled in the corner, breathing heavily, eyes milky, whispering lures. The entity had parasitized me, feeding on my curiosity, turning me into its extension. I don't remember if I ascended. Now, I write this from the phone, but logs flood. Stay with me. We'll be together forever in the dark. If you see this Wi-Fi, don't connect. Don't go to the basement, because I or whatever was once Haruto Tanaka waiting for you here, in the moldy void, with the dripping water and heavy breathing that never stops. And if you've read this far, it might already be too late.